hotel ballroom. And you were like, hey, we're gonna go check out the cave, and like Pete and I were like starving. We'd starved ourselves all day because you'd mentioned taking us to the crab house, and like we were gonna glut ourselves on crab. So we starved ourselves all day. So we're empty stomachs, hungry. We did the whole show, and we were jazzed. So like Pete and I were both like, we just got our second win when we walked out of there, and you're like, come on, we gotta go over to this hotel. Now Pete and I were both dressed up like, this is back in my biker days, so like, I look kind of radical. And,
well, so that was 80 years ago.
It was a while ago.
Anyway. Wait a minute. It's ZZ Top.
Yeah. I've seen those pictures.
Yeah. So we got this thing, right? And Pete and I didn't want to. We didn't really want to go, but Pete was kind of like, yeah, I want to check out what this cave is about, man. And so we go in there, and we walk in. There's what, 200-300 people. And they're all dressed in like fine suits. Everybody's dressed up. Here comes Chris, and he's got a tie-dye t-shirt on with reeds on it, and he's got his two henchmen, these two biker-looking dudes. We come walking in. We got sunglasses on. It's night out, and we're wearing sunglasses. We got do-rags on. I'm wearing my biker colors, and we don't look like we're part of the peaceful kava scene. Well, we roll into this place, and they've got this new age music, birds singing in the background like you're in the jungle, like you're in the rainforest. And they have this little fountain set up where they have like fruit juice. And then they have these 2 or 3 guys standing behind a little bar where they're handing out these little drams, these little tiny itty-bitty, tiny thimble-sized amounts of kava that they dispense and give to you to mix in the juice and drink. And so we go up to the guys, and they say, yeah, you put one of these in the juice and you drink it. And Pete's like, can you drink it straight? He goes, we can. And so he goes, ugh. And I go, what's it like? He goes, I can't feel anything from my tongue to my stomach. I'm numb. And I go, give me some. So I took, and this is on an empty stomach. So I took some, and I took it straight. And then they're like, what's the limit? And, and the guy's like, well, you really shouldn't drink on an empty, you shouldn't have this on an empty stomach, especially without juice. I mean, it's a little strong. And he's like, give me another. And so we took to, and then we went over to the juice thing, and we're mixing it with the juice, and there's these very, it's hoity-toity, kind of erudite standing there, and we're mixing it up and stuff, and I take a sip, and I'm like, and I go, doesn't this remind you of something, Pete? And he goes, yeah, what was that, Guyana? Like 1979, and these people were like astonished that we would say something like that, and they're like, how can you say something like that? And Pete goes, well, look at what we're doing. I mean, we're drinking this juice. We don't know anything about kava, and we're swallowing this stuff down like we're a bunch of mopes. And they were like disgusted with us, and they walked off. And so Pete and I we start heading off. We're walking around. Chris is out mingling. He's mingling. He's doing the mingle thing. He's got to, be the glad handing Danny with all different people. And he's quite good at it too, I got to admit, because he comes off like he's a dope. Am I right, Chris?
I mean, it's not my fault.
He does.
Not intentional.
He comes off like he doesn't, like he's just some half-wit that came up with a great recipe, But they don't know that he's a genius. And like, so we're walking around, and I walk by this group of people, and there's like 6 or 8 of them standing there in a circle, and they're talking. And I didn't know what had happened, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this one guy throws his kava. And you can understand, this made Pete's and my tongue numb all the way down our throat to our stomachs. This guy takes his kava and throws it in this other guy. These 2 guys are dressed in these like really nice suits. He throws it in the guy's face and gets it in his eyes. And all of a sudden, these people are like, oh, and these 2 guys are yelling at each other. And I'm, look, I'm a Christian, and like, blessed are the peacemakers, so they shall be called the sons of God. That was the club I rode with. So I run over, I grab the 2 guys by their neckties because they're ready.
Oh, I thought it was blessed are the cheesemakers.
It's close. Yeah. So I go over and I grab these guys by the neckties, and I say, like, they back down to me. And they're both bigger than me, but I guess they felt that, you always take the aggressive mode, and they back down first. So they stopped, they're fighting. They went out in the hall, and the one guy says to the other, I forget his name, Steven or whatever his name was, I'm not talking to you, and blah, blah, blah. And all these people are like, oh, and like I handed my do-rag to the guy, say, here, wipe this off your face. He snatches that out of my hand like I'm some knave, like I'm some 12th century serf, and he wipes it off his face. And the 2 of them are yelling at each other. Now here comes Chris. What in the heck are you guys doing? I go, I broke up a fight. And he goes, I can't leave you guys alone for 5 minutes. And Pete's like, hey, it wasn't Mark's fault. These guys started fighting and stuff. And he goes, look, I got to go back and talk to these guys. All right? I got to go talk to these guys. And when we get out here, we'll go get something to eat. And so meanwhile, the 2 guys left. The other guy gave me my handkerchief back, and he was continuing to, be very upset. And everything started to calm down. Now, the guy that was running the show, as I remember, he came over to the door and he's like, "What is going on here? This is supposed to be a calming event. People are supposed to be enjoying and relaxing." And I said, "These two guys started fighting, and I broke it up. I got them out of your party." And he looked at me like with total disdain, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. What did you want? A fist fight right there in the middle of your thing?" So everything calms down. There's some people had left, but there's still a good crowd there, and we're standing there. Now, a lot of you guys don't know Pete, but Pete has this incredible ability to whistle unbelievably loud. He can put two fingers in his mouth, and it is so shrill. It's like a fire whistle going off in your brain. It is unbelievable. And I go, "Pete, things seem to have calmed down a bit." He goes, "Yeah." And we're standing by the doors to the entrance of this place. I said, "I don't like it." He said, "Me neither. What do you want to do about it?" I said, "I don't know. How about the whistle?" He goes, "No, I can't do the whistle." I go, "Give him one finger, not both fingers in your mouth, just one." He goes, "All right." So he goes, like that. And all these people, they jump backwards and they're looking up and they go, "What in the heck is this?" And this guy comes running over. And then about 2 minutes later, Chris comes over. He goes, "All right, that's it. We're out of here." He grabs us and he takes off. And meanwhile, these people are completely unnerved. So the whole event kind of was discombobulated just on that fight with those guys and then us whistling at them. Then we went out and had the best crab dinner I ever had in my life. Thank you, Chris. That was a really great dinner. Anyway, that's the Cava story I remember. And then the fallout from it was over the next day, I guess, when we were hanging out at the booth and people came by and stuff. So that's the Cava story.
Yeah, but, okay, I don't think that's not the way I remember it. First of all, I was between two big CEOs of their beverage companies, and they were about to throw fists in the side of my head. You two guys, you ZZ Top, but bigger size by 50 or 80%. You guys were intimidating. I mean, you guys scared the shit out of everybody in that room with the way you looked, and you grabbed them by the lapel and walked them out and dressed them down and said, "You ain't going to fight here because you're not kids." Two CEOs. I mean, in the room were probably people running about $2 or $3 billion worth of food companies.
Yeah.
And two CEOs going to blows has never happened before or since. And you guys were, whatever they were thinking about who you guys were in the booth, after that, everybody was like, "Who the hell does Reed have with him now?"
Yeah.
He's got muscle in the show.
I want to remind everybody there were no video cameras, so none of this can be proven, okay? There's no way. None of this can be corroborated, Senator. Yeah. Go ahead. No, you
just sound like nice guys on the air. I'm telling you, you guys had a demeanor. You could act tougher than the toughest people. You guys would stand there with your arms crossed and look at them. You didn't have to say a word. And they just went, "I don't think I know enough about that guy and the size of that guy and the way he looks to not be nervous as hell." So we were playing a game, having fun, but you guys were great.
We were from Philly. What can I tell you?
There you go.
That's all there is to it. It's a mentality. You want to screw with us? All right, fine. We're ready to play. Well, but this is loving, caring, and sharing, and participate in those kind of activities now, do we? Anyway,
and wouldn't you like to welcome Connie into the room?
Connie's joined us. Connie, welcome to Loving, Caring, and Sharing again. How are you?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. I got your emails. How's I forget her name.
Praline.
Yeah, Buddy and Pirate.
Yeah.
Buddy and Pirate,
and the newest edition, Praline.
Praline is beautiful.
That's right. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Connie Tetford's joined us and is she's the founder of Greater Southwestern
St. Bernard Rescue.
Thank you. Yes, I always get that wrong. And Connie's been rescuing St. Bernards for years. I have two St. Bernards, so she does something that's near and dear to my heart. And she keeps me posted all the time, ever since we interviewed her back in January, about things that are going on with dogs that she's helping and stuff. And she just sent me some really neat emails about Praline, and it's just really neat stuff. You guys got to go check her website out. So, Connie, have you been listening for a while?
I have not. I initially did, but then I decided to go back out and swim with the dogs, so I missed the show.
I don't blame you. I'd be swimming with the dogs myself, except for the fact that it's Chris. So, anyway, welcome. It's good to have you. And Chris is the owner of Reed's Ginger Brew, or Reed's Incorporated. Reed'sInc.com is the website, and we're just.
I looked it up. The first mention that you made of it, and I was looking for I thought they did just juice or just a drink, but I was really astounded at the variety of.
All right, I'm gonna let Steve do the promo. All right, because Steve is the guy I've been trying to talk into drinking this for 16 years, and maybe somehow with his words he can convince you that this is something you definitely want to try. Steve,
just say a prayer for Connie.
My stomach's been bothering me today, so I don't know.
Oh, that's all the more reason. We were just talking about that.
That's right. I'll tell you, he's been talking to me about Reed's Ginger Brew for 16, 17 years, since the first time that I met him. And about a month ago, I finally found some in the community that I live in and was able to try it. I've had a hard time finding it. But he'd keep talking about it, and I'd go, yeah, whatever. But I went and sought it out, and just amazed at how tasty and good the product is. Introduced it to several people within my family, my wife, my mother-in-law, others that were in and out of the house, and it's just a wonderful product, and it is all natural. There's no caffeine. It's made with all these juices and roots and spices, and it's just an amazing.
And gluten-free.
And gluten-free. That's correct.
Yeah, right.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, we're just about at the top of the hour. We're gonna take a little break here. We're gonna go into it a little bit overtime. Going to do another half hour. And Chris, really, thanks so much for joining us tonight. This has just been a great treat for me.
All right, no problem.
Okay. All right, we're going to get back to more mayhem and mischief. We're going to talk a little bit more about Chris's product line. Again, you can go to Reed'sInc.com. Check out everything that Chris has been involved in. And I'm telling you, we haven't even talked about the ice cream or the ginger candy. And now chocolate-covered ginger candy. I want to hear about this. So our special guest has been Chris Reed of Reed's Ginger Brew. And you can visit Chris's website at Reed'sInc.com. And Chris, I was hoping we could get into a little bit about, how you started developing some of these other products you came out with. I remember when you came out with the ginger ice cream, I was skeptical. And then I forget who it was. One of my buddies who had bugged about it, I think it was Harris. He said, "Have you tried the ginger ice cream?" I was like, "No, I haven't." And he said, "You got to try this." And I got some, and it was just unbelievable. What was the progress of how did you figure out to go into ice cream?
First of all, ice cream dairy is somewhat congesting. If you're a natural foodie, you would avoid it. And some people avoid dairy altogether. There are vegans out there. But ginger is kind of an antidote to the congestion. In Chinese medicine, if you have a lot of dampness in the body, they call it, or congestion, you just crank on the ginger.
Right.
Have you ever done that for a cold?
Oh, yeah. All the time. Every time.
All right. So putting the ginger from a medical or I don't know what you call it, an herbal standpoint, from a food combining standpoint, ginger and ice cream should be together just because it's an antidote to what it does in your body, the dairy, especially at the concentrations of an ice cream. Right. But the flavor is just unbelievable.
Oh, it is. It's so creamy and delicious, and but it's so unique. It's not like you're having a ginger brew, but it is in a way.
Well, first of all, we get together all the big ginger manufacturers in the world. There's the Booterum guys from Australia, and Royal Pacific from San Francisco does a lot of importing for Trader Joe's and stuff. Right. And I hang with the guys, and we sat down, and one day I just threw at him. I said, "Look, I'm not trying to be, brag here, but can we just agree that the best ginger product in the world is Reed's Ginger Ice Cream?" And they said, "Yeah." Because it is.
It's true.
It's the best ginger product in the world, period.
I remember when we did the food shows, one of the things you used to have me do, because we worked the booth, And you could go around and sample stuff, and that's how we'd eat lunch that day. We'd go out and we tried different vendors' foods and things like that, and beverages. And you were always bugging us. Look, I want you guys to go over and try these other guys' products. I want your honest opinion on it. All right, I want to know. Do you really think? If there's somebody out there that's better than me, I want you to tell me. And I tried everybody's, and none of them came close. None of them were like, oh, that's really good. None of them came close. So that was like, for me, that was like, that's it. I mean, look, I'm the same way with cheesesteaks. You come to Philadelphia and you go